Burkina Faso is the 14th largest producer of gold, generating an impressive 70,000 kilograms in 2022. However, unfortunately, none of this gold remains in Burkina Faso, and the payments for it are not fair. Instead, European companies exploit Burkina Faso's gold and other minerals. The young people of Burkina Faso work in terrible conditions in the gold mines for these European companies, who pay them very little. All the gold ends up in the coffers of European banks, leaving nothing for the people of Burkina Faso. As a result, 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, and Burkina Faso ranks 184th out of 191 countries in the Human Development Index. But now, the military leader and president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, has announced a strategy to change this situation. He vows that the West will no longer obtain gold from Burkina Faso at below-market prices. He aims to regain control of the country's reserves and put an end to the exploitation. The details of his plan are yet to be revealed. Captain Ibrahim Traore, the head of state of Burkina Faso, recently declared that the era of freely exporting gold to the Western world is over. Despite coming to power through a military coup, he is determined to correct the mistakes made by previous leaders regarding the nation's natural resources, finances, and overall progress. In the past, Africans have risked their lives to extract these resources, often resorting to hazardous methods such as using mercury and engaging in small-scale mining operations. Unfortunately, the fruits of their labor are taken by intermediaries who purchase these resources at significantly reduced prices. These intermediaries then sell the resources in Western markets, reaping substantial profits that remain outside of Africa. President Ibrahim Traore is committed to ending this exploitation once and for all. He highlighted the challenges faced by many Africans involved in dangerous mining operations to extract gold. These individuals receive minimal compensation when selling their gold in the African market. Subsequently, the gold is exported to Western markets, benefiting others while neglecting the needs of local communities. This practice not only hampers job creation, but also hinders overall development as the money is drained away from the local economy. Burkina Faso faces a significant challenge when it comes to the prominent mining company Endeavour Mining. This multinational corporation, based in the UK, holds a dominant position in Burkina Faso's gold mining sector, controlling nearly one-third of the country's gold market. To complicate matters further, Endeavour Mining acquired the Mana mine in July 2020 as part of its takeover of a Canada-based gold miner. This situation highlights a recurring issue where ownership of African resources often falls into the hands of foreign entities. Previously, a Canadian company owned the mine, and now it is owned by a UK-based firm. Data reveals a troubling reality. Endeavour Mining, a foreign entity, holds a substantial 90% share in the mine, while the Burkina Faso government only holds a mere 10% stake. This demonstrates the overwhelming foreign control. Burkina Faso is recognized as the world's 14th largest gold producer in 2022, underscoring the significance of its gold reserves. However, it is becoming evident that the ownership of these reserves does not truly belong to the people. The majority of multinational companies exploiting these resources come from countries other than Burkina Faso, and the government's stake in these companies is relatively minor and easily bought up. As a consequence, the people have minimal control over their own gold, and they cannot even afford to benefit from their own resources. Recently, the government had to purchase 200 gold bars from Endeavour Mining using their own funds, instead of utilizing the gold extracted from mines in Burkina Faso. This situation mirrors what has occurred in Ghana, where AngloGold Ashanti currently owns almost all the gold mines, and the Ghanaian government has no stake in these operations. Essentially, they have relinquished their natural resources and heritage at a meager price. The predicament lies in the fact that the profits generated from these resources do not flow back to the continent, failing to contribute to its development. This is why Burkina Faso's leader asserts that they are moving towards establishing their own company to independently exploit these resources on their own terms. Their aim is to enhance the value of the resources and sell to the highest bidder, ensuring that the earnings flow back to Burkina Faso for the nation's development. Many young people are left wondering why their nation and the continent, rich in resources, remain in poverty. It is perplexing how Burkina Faso, the 14th largest gold producer globally, continues to grapple with economic challenges. The ownership of their gold by multinational companies, coupled with the failure to reinvest the funds within the country, means that Canada and the UK reap the benefits. This becomes evident when evaluating the minimal contributions made to local development. These corporations make profits through their corporate social responsibility efforts. However, the leader of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore, firmly declares that such practices are now a thing of the past. But how will this be achieved? Well, Ibrahim Traore presented a plan in August of this year. During Burkina Faso's International Youth Day celebrations, Ibrahim Traore made an unexpected policy announcement. Despite surprising his audience, Ibrahim felt compelled to address a critical issue. Since taking office in September 2022, he has been tirelessly committed to utilizing Burkina Faso's abundant resources for its own benefit. During the event, Ibrahim took the stage and delivered a compelling message that highlighted the stark contrast between International Youth Day and the actions of the Western world towards African nations. He strongly criticized the treatment of African countries, calling it a model of brutal imperialism. Ibrahim emphasized that despite the formal abolition of slavery in Europe and the United States, Africans continued to endure conditions resembling slavery due to foreign control over gold mines. Many argue that the Western world abolished slavery, but Ibrahim accentuated the role of these very Western powers in perpetuating slavery in Africa. Young Africans are forced into arduous labor in dangerous gold mines, risking their lives to generate profits for Europe, while receiving only basic sustenance in return. Ibrahim acknowledged the persistence of neocolonialism in Burkina Faso and vowed to instigate transformative change. That's when he unveiled Burkina Faso's new policy, which focuses on reclaiming sovereignty over gold mining. Drawing parallels between the current situation in Burkina Faso and the conditions endured by black slaves in Europe and the Americas in the 1800s, Ibrahim shed light on the perilous lives of today's miners. He posed thought-provoking questions about the miners, their families, and the exploitation they face, highlighting the injustice of their labor. He pointed out that no matter how much gold they extract, the profits ultimately benefit European powers who possess mining rights. This structural dominance by Europe has significantly influenced Burkina Faso's gold mining sector. The plight of Burkina Faso has gained attention due to the growing dangers faced by its miners and the ongoing struggle for justice. But this situation will change. Ibrahim Traore declared that a transformation is on the horizon, bringing about substantial modernization. He revealed his plan to establish a company that will take control of all mining sites in Burkina Faso, especially the gold mines. This radical change will kick out the European companies. Once these sites are reclaimed, the European companies, driven by exploitative agreements, will be asked to leave. The newly established state company in Burkina Faso will ensure that the gold extracted remains within the country, benefiting its people. This modernization of the mining sector will replace the harsh conditions with a more contemporary approach, allowing individuals to extract gold as it is done in developed nations. From now on, gold exploitation will signify using it for the advancement and enrichment of Burkina Faso's citizens, not European people. The era of relentless exploitation by former colonizers has run its course, and a new chapter is about to begin. In European-run gold mines, a stark contrast emerges. Instead of improving people's lives, they actually deteriorate. To change this situation, Burkina Faso is establishing a new company with the aim of providing employment opportunities for its youth. From now on, their work will contribute to the welfare of their country and themselves, not foreign nations. During the ceremony, Ibrahim addressed the businessmen present and urged them to make a new commitment. As key figures in the economic landscape, they have the power to generate job prospects and set Burkina Faso on a path to recovery. Burkina Faso is introducing an initiative called APEC, which aims to redefine businesses within the nation. The rationale behind this initiative is that Burkina Faso possesses raw materials for a wide range of products, but imports finished goods they could manufacture domestically. Ibrahim pointed out the irony of having tomatoes but lacking the capability to produce tomato paste, or having oil seeds but not processing them. These limitations stem from historical attempts by European powers to keep Burkina Faso dependent. Ibrahim openly acknowledged that on the path to self-sufficiency and complete independence, imperial powers would exert their utmost efforts to obstruct Burkina Faso. They would create obstacles to deter Burkina Faso from pursuing its plans and maintain the status quo. However, he affirmed that if the people of Burkina Faso unite in the struggle for their own well-being, no one can undermine their progress. During his declaration, Ibrahim made a statement that sent shockwaves through the audience. He said that Burkina Faso's battle is not an isolated one. It is a collective fight for the entire African continent. In other words, the measures Burkina Faso takes from now on should be adopted by leaders of other African countries to liberate themselves from the grasp of former colonial powers. This implies that the imperial European powers plotting to undermine Burkina Faso will find themselves challenged by the entire African continent. Even if they attempt to manipulate and employ unethical tactics to control a single country, such tactics are not feasible when dealing with the entire African continent. This has been evident in recent years with the increasing number of coups across Africa, with leaders prioritizing their nations rising to power. Gold mining plays a key role in Burkina Faso's economy, making it Africa's fourth largest gold producer. However, the gold industry in Burkina Faso has been marred by child slavery and dangerous mining conditions. For example, the Perco zinc mine, owned by a Canadian company, experienced a tragic incident where 8 miners were trapped underground due to flooding. Numerous foreign companies have been actively involved in gold exploration in Burkina Faso, including entities from Australia and the United Kingdom. The country has hundreds of gold mines, many of which are small-scale operations. Burkina Faso ranks third in Africa for gold exploration and fourth in gold production. Unfortunately, all the gold produced by these mines is directly exported out of the country, ending up in European banks. The gold mining industry in Burkina Faso has witnessed remarkable growth since 2006, fueling an increase in merger and acquisition activities and attracting more exploration companies to the region. However, it is important to note that all these companies are foreign-owned, taking away all the gold. Burkina Faso stands as the world's 14th largest gold producer, contributing 2% to the global gold output. In 2022, Burkina Faso produced 70,000 kilograms of gold, showing an increase from the previous year. The country is estimated to possess 6.6 million tons of gold reserves, which hold significant importance in Burkina Faso's economy. Gold mining contributes 75% to its exports, 12.9% to its GDP, and 8.23% to total government revenues. However, the youth of Burkina Faso who work in the gold mining industry face risks and challenges. Many children in Burkina Faso have been forced to abandon their education to work in the country's informal gold mines. They put their lives at risk in dangerous conditions, hoping to find gold. However, once the gold is mined, it immediately leaves the country, benefiting foreign entities rather than staying in Burkina Faso. The children working in these mines earn a meager income, sharing some with their parents and keeping the rest for themselves. The situation in Burkina Faso's gold mines is dire. Miners struggle to make a living under perilous conditions, living in makeshift shelters. Despite being the fourth largest gold producer in Africa, a significant number of mines operate informally, and child labor is prevalent. These children work in unsafe conditions, descending into deep shafts without proper equipment. It is estimated that around 20,000 children work in Burkina Faso's gold mines. Furthermore, many of the country's youth are employed by foreign mining companies. Despite its rich resources, including gold, poverty remains a pressing issue in Burkina Faso. More than 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, and rural areas are particularly affected, where approximately 90% of the population resides. The exploitation of resources by foreign corporations has contributed to this poverty, following the concept of the resource curse. Foreign mining companies, primarily from Europe, mine and export gold from Burkina Faso, while the revenue generated is not adequately reinvested in the country. Captain Ibrahim Traore, a key figure in Burkina Faso, has acknowledged the mistakes made by previous leaders who prioritized their own interests over the welfare of the country and its people. He plans to establish a state company responsible for overseeing all mining operations to ensure that a significant portion of gold and resources stay in Burkina Faso for the benefit of its people. This move aims to reject the unfair agreements made with European companies in the past and secure a better future for Burkina Faso. By reclaiming control over their resources, Burkina Faso aims to bring prosperity to its people. This move may deprive the West of cheap gold that they used to obtain from Burkina Faso. It serves as an example for other African countries to follow, empowering them to take back control of their resources and ensure that they benefit their own citizens. The question remains about which African countries should learn from Burkina Faso's approach and reclaim their resources for the well-being of their people.